Hello everyone, my name is Barry and I'll be discussing the subject of neonicotinoids, also known as neonics. You're probably wondering what is a neonicotinoid, why we even use neonicotinoids, and of course the most important question, how does neonicotinoid harm bees? Well, sit back, relax, grab a popcorn because I will be answering all those burning questions in this video. Before we get into details, let's talk about the history of neonics. So, neonics are synthetic insecticides that were first introduced in the 1990s. It was first introduced as a spray, but now neonics can be treated as far as a seed. So the seed will be coated in neonics, and all the farmers have to do is plant it, and it has the effect of the insecticide. It is being planted or being used over 90 million acres of corn every year, and the reason why these farmers are using neonicotinoids is because it claims that it is selective against insects, meaning they will only harm the bad insects like your fruit flies, your gnats, and will leave the good insects like your bees, your honeybees, your bumblebees alone. Or so they thought. Another reason why it is widely used is because it has systemic protection on plants. We will get more in detail in the next slide. Now we know a little history of neonics and why farmers use neonics. What are neonics? Well, neonics is again widely used insecticide, and it is systemic. What does it mean to be systemic? Well, it means that it is effective throughout the plant. It is effective on the leaves, the stem, the fruit, the flower, even the pollen and nectar. If you were to use the spray that some farmers use, the plants will absorb the neonic through the vascular system, and it becomes, well, the insecticide will become effective throughout the plant. And neonics are a neurotic insecticide, meaning that it will harm plants' nervous system and paralyzing it, and can even cause death. Another reason why farmers love neonics is because neonics are water soluble. So when the farmers are going out to water their plants, the neonics will be able to spread it throughout the fields, so therefore affecting other plants that may not have the pesticide in their system. So how does neonics affect bees? Well, again, neonics target insects' neurons, and as you can see from the picture, we see how neonics affect bees' neurotransmitters. Of course, it does not kill the bees forthright, but we do see some sublethal effects from neonics. Bees that are exposed to neonics have shown some impact in their ability to learn, remember where flowers are located, as well as the ability to get nectar and find their way to get back to their hive. And if there are high levels of these neonics in the air, then it could possibly kill a flying pollinator. Another issue is if a bee pollinates a flower and then goes back to its hive, then that means its whole entire colony is now infected. And if you look at the picture at the far right, these three are the most common neonics in the market as of right now. And a study by Michigan State University tested imidacloprid as well as thiomethylzam and see if they are impacting honeybees. And what they saw is that it does impact honeybees at lower temperatures. And as you can see from the chart, thiomethylzam as well as imidacloprid impact bees drastically as the temperature dips, meaning that during the winter or during the cold, bees will have a harder time compared to the control group, which they used was just sugar water. Another thing that they noticed during the study is that imidacloprid harms decision making and danger from these bees. Another study has shown that there are lower brood production in these nests, as well as impaired immunity, and there are far more larger amount of pesticides in the hives and beeswax. As a matter of fact, the study done by the European Union showed that there are some levels of neonicotinoids in the honey of the honeybees, and the graph from this shows that there are some residue of neonicotinoids. As I mentioned before, neonics are environmentally persistent, and drifting applications may contaminate other aquatic habitats. Since it is very water soluble, it may go into our rivers, our oceans, our streams, and could impact other animals. Neonics stay in the soil ranging from 200 to 1,000 days. Neonics are also in some products such as flea control as well as insect infestation. And if you look at the graph here, the Center for Food Safety has shown that there are increased use of neonics since 2003 and is predominantly found in maize and soybean. Well, what are some things that you could do? Well, one thing that you could do is, if you must apply pesticides, I would suggest you doing it at night because there will be barely any pollinators outside. And if you must get a pesticide, please do your research because you never know what insects or animals you are hurting. And of course, do not over apply these pesticides because they do take a very long time to biodegrade. And we must come all to a realization that if we have a lot of bugs in our garden or backyard, that means our gardens, our backyards are a super healthy habitat for these pollinators. So how does this project connect to chemistry? Or better yet, what did I learn throughout this project? Well, I analyzed some chemicals and differentiate the benefits and hazards that it may cause to the society and our surroundings. And I also understood how neonicotinoids move and react throughout the environment and impact our ecosystem, and as well as some challenges that we may face using this specific chemical. Well, it looks like we are running out of time, so I will leave you with this. That neonicotinoids are harming our bees, and if you are going to buy pesticide, do some research. Make sure it doesn't harm bees or other pollinators. And if you have to apply pesticide, do it at night because that is way more safer towards the pollinators. And so the next time you go to your garden or perhaps your backyard and you see a bug eating your crop or perhaps your plant, instead of freaking out and grabbing the pesticide, just remember you are indirectly saving the bees.